Cursed energy itself is a negative substance. It's born from negativity leaked through negative human emotion, and when compiled together, it can even give birth to cursed spirits. Sorcerers use cursed energy for basically everything a sorcerer does, from amplifying strikes to powering curse techniques. High-level cursed energy volume, output, and control are a central part to any strong sorcerer in JJK. But while cursed energy itself is pretty simple, its counterpart isn't. While negative cursed energy is something every sorcerer has experience using positive energy is rare outside of the undeniable strongest in the series, and for many grade 1 sorcerers, using positive energy can seem impossible. If you think of cursed energy as a literal negative, then multiplying negative cursed energy by more negative cursed energy together, you can actually create positive energy. This is reverse curse technique at its core, and understanding this signifies a sorcerer's nearly unparalleled level of cursed energy control. Its overcomplicated nature also created many misconceptions across the fandom about reverse curse technique and positive energy as a whole. It also really isn't explained all too much throughout the manga, unlike the standard negative cursed energy, and with the new exposition of reverse curse technique in these recent chapters, it makes all the more sense to finally talk about it. In this video, I'll be going over everything you need to know about using reverse curse technique and clearing up any misconceptions I've seen along the way. If you would enjoy to see more JJK content like this, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and comment on some video ideas you want to see be done down below. While researching the complexity behind reverse curse technique, it definitely helps to be working on this amazing desk I have thanks to FlexiSpot. I love my desk, and if you're like me, you've never really thought about what makes a good desk great, and it's okay because with a company like FlexiSpot, you always know you're in good hands. All of their products are truly works of art in themselves, and everything from the craftsmanship to the overall build quality is fantastic and unlike any other desk I've ever seen. This 55-inch bamboo countertop is nothing but durable and high-end, and even with just a knock, you can tell that this desk is top of the line and it's built to last. Each of the legs are solid and reliable, and you're reminded of that every single time you start to work. This desk is here to support you when you're taking on nearly any workload of any size. FlexiSpot's high-quality, captivating parts to each of their builds turns an ordinary desk to an office necessity that I can't live without. FlexiSpot also makes setting up this desk a breeze, and I was shocked to see how fast it actually came together. Even though I'm not the handiest person around when it comes to putting things together, FlexiSpot made it easy not to worry, and you'll be finished in just a few simple steps before you even know it. But by far my favorite and most unique feature about this desk that really pushes it higher and a cut above the rest is the standing feature. By simply pressing the controller on this desk, I can raise and lower it on command, and with a height range of 28 to 48 inches and a raise speed about 1 inch per second, this desk is always giving you the freedom to work any way you'd like. Whether it's scripting, recording, or even editing my next video, I can do it all any way I'd want thanks to FlexiSpot. I can say for sure that this desk is my go-to recommendation for any setup of any kind, and it's something that I really can't live without. Go check out my exclusive Amazon link in the description below, and you can see why I love this desk, and you will too. Like I've already lightly touched on before, reverse curse technique is just the process of turning the standard negative cursed energy into positive energy. There's already a big misconception from the name itself that reverse curse technique is an actual curse technique, however this isn't really true. It's explained in a volume extra in volume 10 that even though it has curse technique in the name, it simply isn't, and it's more of a skill. The paragraph above explains that Yuji's Divergent Fist and Black Flash aren't really curse techniques either, and they're just applications of cursed energy manipulation like reinforcement. So it's actually just multiplication, not a curse technique, and that's what's verbatim said in the volume extra. The best and only actual example that we have of seeing the thought process of someone who's figured out reverse curse technique is Satoru Gojo, who according to himself figured it out by finding the core of cursed energy. Just a few chapters before this, in his first fight with Toji, Gojo had taken major damage to a ton of vital points like his neck and brain, and the damage was so severe that Toji, an assassin with the nickname Sorcerer Killer, was sure that Gojo had literally died, only to be standing right in front of his face saying that he feels brand new. Gojo explains to Toji that even though you can always reinforce your body with normal cursed energy, repairing it using negative cursed energy is impossible, and that's why he uses reverse curse technique. This is because cursed energy comes from negative emotions and it's stressful. It's not fit for healing living things, but that's also why cursed spirits who are made completely out of negative emotion, and more specifically cursed energy, have no problem repairing themselves without reverse curse technique. However, when it comes to positive cursed energy mixing in with cursed spirits, it becomes a highly skilled asset and the most efficient way to exercise any curse. When imbuing positive energy into a weapon with enough potency, it becomes a viable way to ensure the extermination of any cursed spirit, and Maharaga and Yuta are perfect examples for this. Maharaga's blade is known as the Sword of Extermination, and according to the fanbook, this sword can instantly pulverize any cursed spirit. Even Sukuna, while at 15 fingers worth of his original power, blocks the Shikigami's attack, but knows that the blade is completely cloaked in positive energy, and that if he was a cursed spirit, even someone as strong as he is, he would have been exercised right then and there. In Sendai Colony against Kurorushi, a cockroach cursed spirit, Yuta says he can run positive energy through his katana just like he did against Itadori, but he chooses a more strategic route, and instead, he used reverse curse technique technique and outputted a massive blast of positive energy through his mouth in an attempt to exercise Kurorushi, where he takes major damage and this version of Kurorushi becomes completely exercised. Obviously, when it comes to sorcerers, the main application for reverse curse technique is always going to be healing and repairing themselves from devastating damage during any fight. At this point in the series, it's honestly harder to come up with things that can't be fixed by simply using reverse curse technique. Gojo, who I mentioned already, and Kinji Akari have come back from the verge of death, and Akari specifically was saved multiple times in one fight, despite losing entire limbs or taking direct shots to the brain from Kashimo's lightning strike. When it comes to using reverse curse technique in combat, Akari is some sort of a special case. He's the only sorcerer in the series to actually make use of the technique without actually knowing how to perform it. This is because Akari's curse technique by default comes with his domain expansion Idle Death Gamble, which is just simply way too much to fully break down in this video, but in short, inside of Akari's domain, he plays a game and reaches certain conditions to be granted some sort of special effects in a mode called Jackpot. He's granted an unlimited, or even according to some translations, an infinite amount of cursed energy, but that also causes his body to perform a fully automatic form of reverse curse technique, just so his body doesn't simply literally break apart from the insane amount of cursed energy that's going to be surging through his body during Jackpot mode. Akari can repair his body passively from all the damage I mentioned earlier, even while unconscious, and it's one of the best applications of the technique in combat that we've ever seen. Others like Yuta Akotsu, Yuki Tsukumo, and Kenjaku can all be seen repairing their arms back to their fully functional condition after taking critical damage. Yuta had his arm literally burnt and charred off by Ryu's Granite Blast, and it's important to keep in mind that Ryu boasts having the highest output of cursed energy throughout the Culling games. Yuki had taken a direct shot from Kenjaku's domain, which led to her taking severe damage to her arm, and Kenjaku had completely broken off both of his arms trying to block a punch from Yuki. While you can probably tell that all damage to the physical body for the most part can be repaired by simply using reverse curse technique, when we look a little bit deeper, it's not so simple and it definitely has its limits. Damage to the soul is one thing that not even reverse curse technique can fix. In chapter 27, Mahito had manipulated and contorted the shape of Junpei's soul to then change the shape of his physical body. Yuji had seen Sukuna use reverse curse technique back in the detention facility to repair his own body, and even come back from the dead after Sukuna had ripped out his heart, so he tries to make a deal with Sukuna to fix Junpei, but Sukuna for some reason declines. Mahito sits and thinks about it for a little bit and then concludes that there's only one reason why Sukuna would decline. According to Mahito, it's not like Sukuna couldn't do anything about fixing Junpei's soul using reverse curse technique, but maybe it's that he can't heal others. What Mahito says right here doesn't even really make sense for a few reasons. The first is that we know for a fact that Sukuna can heal others. Not only do we literally see it later in the Shibuya incident while Sukuna heals Megami while being in a quote suspended death, but the fanbook itself even comments that Sukuna is one of the few people who can actually heal others by using reverse curse technique. There's also another fan translation from a team called Nanami Says that gives some more insight on what Mahito had actually said. They end up clarifying that Mahito is actually saying that Sukuna can't heal the soul using reverse curse technique, and that's why he can't heal Junpei. This makes a lot more sense in context, considering saying Sukuna can't heal others using reverse curse technique doesn't make any sense in the first place. Another limited aspect of reverse curse technique, which has only been made known recently, is repairing a specific part of the sorcerer's brain. In the recent chapters of the manga, both Gojo and Sukuna have been continuously repairing the frontal cortex in each of their brains with one domain expansion after another. Normally, after using a domain, the caster's curse technique becomes burnt out and harder to use, and it's impossible to open up a follow-up domain expansion. By repairing a specific part of the brain using reverse curse technique, the caster can stop the burnout and have the full use of their curse technique again to the fullest extent, and even open up another domain expansion. The problem with constantly using a domain in reverse curse technique is because it's essentially like breaking your brain and repairing it over and over and over again, and that's exactly what Gojo and Sukuna have been doing this entire fight. Yuta compares the brain to an engine and explains that the burnt out curse technique is like an engine overheating. The machine isn't broken, but it needs to be cooled down, and if not, it won't function properly. Kusakabe says the brain is like a black box system, especially when it comes to curse techniques, and because of that, it isn't really easy to heal. In Gojo and Sukuna's case, doing this over and over led to both of them severely damaging their brains, and now made expanding a domain a completely unusable option, and what Gojo and Sukuna are experiencing right now, it's not something that reverse curse technique can fix at the moment. Different sorcerers are also capable of performing certain applications of reverse curse technique while others cannot, despite both groups of sorcerers all using reverse curse technique at the highest level. In the Jujutsu fanbook, there's a list of every single person who can actually heal other people using reverse curse technique, and it's Yuta, Sukuna, and Shoko. It's actually stated that Gojo himself can't heal others using reverse curse technique, even though he's mastered constantly keeping it running in his brain and curse technique reversal. However, there's also things that Gojo can do with his reverse curse technique that Yuta, for example, can't. Gojo repairing his burnt out curse technique is something 100% Yuta cannot replicate replicate according to himself, despite being able to heal others using reverse curse technique while Gojo cannot. Removing poisons and regenerating an arm are also apparently insane feats to perform using reverse curse technique. It's harder to remove poisons because it requires you to first find the poison in your body and then remove it, and Kashimo comments that you need high level reverse curse technique to be able to pull it off. As for regenerating an arm, we don't know exactly why Ryu considers this one hell of a feat to pull off, but if I had to guess, it'd be because of the massive amount of cursed energy used up when using reverse curse technique. We see in Sendai Colony, Yuta, who even in base has more cursed energy than even Satoru Gojo, only begins to bottom out after constantly using reverse curse technique to repair his body. Keep in mind the damage that Yuta had repaired was nothing compared to losing an arm, and at worst, it was him repairing his arm after being burnt by Ryu's Granite Blast, which is the feat I mentioned earlier. Destroying the brain in one blow, or stopping the connection between the brain and the rest of the body, are the fastest and only guaranteed ways to stop reverse curse technique from functioning. Without a brain, the positive energy can't be directed, leading to a fatal blow on any sorcerer, and it's exactly why Gojo explains to Toji that he should have cut off his head. However, as of right now, there's never been anyone able to pull this off on any sorcerer because it's not that simple. Akari, for example, was the first to show us that using reverse curse technique, you can actually heal while you break. It's basically just repairing the damage before the damage is even fully dealt. Gojo had done the same thing while taking the full force of Sukuna's domain, despite Sukuna's sure hits all landing on Gojo, and with Sukuna even slashing Gojo's neck at one point, but Gojo was still able to fight using reverse curse technique at maximum output to constantly repair his body. Sorcerers who gain access to reverse curse technique also automatically get access to curse technique reversal. When it comes to powering curse techniques, the two ways are lapse and reversal. Lapse refers to rotating your cursed energy forward to power curse techniques with negative cursed energy, whereas reversal rotates your cursed energy backwards to power your curse techniques with positive energy instead. However, using reversal also leads to the technique having the completely inverse effect and consumes twice the normal amount of cursed energy. When Gojo's neutral limitless is strengthened by negative cursed energy, he can now use the convergence of space, or better known as blue, to attract and pull objects like a magnet. When the limitless is now strengthened by positive energy, Gojo's convergence of space turns into the divergence of space, which is also known as red, which is also the inverse color of blue. Instead of pulling or attracting objects, Gojo can now repel and launch objects or people across insanely far distances. Examples of curse techniques actually being used in reversal are very few and far between, and this is probably because of just how rare it is in general for someone to be using reverse curse technique in the first place, and there's also just some curse techniques that sound stupid to be applied in reversal format. Like imagine if Nanami 7-3 was applied in reversal format and was now 3 and 7. The only sorcerers in the series to use reversal are Gojo and Kenjaku. Gojo, I've already explained, simply converts his limitless as blue to red, but Kenjaku instead switches his anti-gravity curse technique to a normal gravity amplifying curse technique to increase the weight of the gravity around him.